Hello everybody, my name is Bariq Maulana and I'm here. I want to explain about the expense tracker app that I've just made and uh, break down each part of the code. So without further ado, let's get into it. By the way, I created this using Bootstrap, Vue.js, and a little bit of CSS. As you can see here, I've made it into 4 parts. The first is the navbar. In the navbar, there is a title, icon, and navbar toggle buttons. And inside the uh, bar toggle, there is a drop down. And if you have clicked one of them, it will direct you to the website that you have clicked. Under the navbar part, there are form part. In the form part, there are totals. There are total. This will display the total amount of your income and expense. And there are 3 inputs: description input, input amount, and select date. And there are 2 buttons: add to income and add to expense. Under the form part, there is a history part. This will shows the history of your income list or expense list and expense list. And the last is footer with this house logo, and if you have clicked this logo, it will bring you up again to the form part. So let me uh, show you how it works. For example, description is you have payday, you write payday and you input the amount, for example 100,000, and you select the date and you click add to income, and it will increase the total, the display total. And let's say, for example, you have you write expense for expense. For example, you buy food, you input the amount, for example 5,000, and you select the date and you click add to expense, and it will decrease the display total amount, and it will display the history of your or list of your income and expense. And there are erase button, remove button. What this will and if you, for example, if you have removed this expense list, it will show again the uh, total amount. And if you have erased this income list, and it will show 0 again. And what happens if you have, if your expense is greater than your increase and income? For example, you want to buy a motorcycle and you input the amount, yes, and you select the date and add to expense. It will display it into red. So yeah, uh, that's that's how it works. So this is the code part. uh, like I said before, I've differentiated, you say, with four parts. This is the navbar part, navbar code. This is the input expense or incomes code. This is the history code, and this is the footer code. And this is the for script, and This is the external link. In the navbar, I'm using navtag with class navbar-dark and background-dark. And there is a div with class container-fluid. This will shows the width into 100%. This is for the title and icon. As you can see, I'm using a tag using with class navbar dash brand with icon. I declare it with class bi dash cast dash tag with display inline dash block, and the size equals to h3. And this is for the bar toggle. I'm using a button tag with class navbar dash toggler with the type button, and the data dash bs dash toggle will collapse, and the data will target the nav menu ID, and nav menu ID is here, this part. uh, the what this actually means is if you have clicked this button, it will target the nav menu.id and it will shows this part. Yes, I think. Oh, and yes, there is a drop down item with li tag with class nav dash item and drop down, and this is for the item for this is for the item of drop down menu with class drop down dash menu. As you can see here, I'm using div id app until this. So what this actually means is within this div, this is where the view.js will work within this id div id app. So in the input expense or incomes, I'm using sections with class background primary. Background primary will turns the background into blue with text dash dark and text dash center and padding top dash 5. And there is a container and a row. This part will shows the total amount with class call column stand for column dash md stand for medium with padding bottom dash 5 and font size dash 5. And there is a within this div there is a span with class padding dash 4 with rounded dash fill. This will turn the border into rounded fill. And there is a v-bind class. What this actually means, this will toggle class or binding class uh, with method class object. I will explain about it later, more about it later. And there is a form tag with v-on submit prevent. What this code actually do is to prevent form submission on form submission. And there is a div class with row and padding bottom dash 5, and within this div there is a column with medium dash 4, and within this column there are form groups. This is where the input part. As you can see here, I declare it using input tag with type text and class form dash control and v dash model description. V dash model stands means for this will binding to data for this input, and there is placeholder with description, and it's pretty much the same uh, for input. And this is where the button parts I declare it using the same as input with form dash group with button with class btn stands for button dash success. Success means it will turns the button color into green, and I declare it using with large size. And v dash on click uh, at income. What this code means is when you have clicked this button, the add income will method will execute it, uh, and it's the same as add to expense. It's just the difference is just the method. And the history part, uh, I'm using sections with class text dash dark with padding top dash 5 and container dash fluid. uh, and this part, uh, this is where the array of your data will shown using list with class list dash group. uh, v dash if what this actually mean is if income list dot length, uh, uh, this income list length is greater than 0, or yeah, or greater than 0, it will show this list. It will show this list with class list dash group dash item. And there's a v dash 4 for parameter item, comma index and index in income list. And there is a id history. This is for css, and it will shows the description that you have input, and the total that you have input, and the date that you have input. And there is a button for you to remove the uh, history list, the history, the income list. There is a v dash on click, uh, remove icon income with parameter item and index. And there is icon with class bi dash trash, and it's pretty much the same as expense list. The difference is just the method and the method on v dash on click. This is the footer. I'm using footer tag with class padding dash 3, background dash dark, text dash white, text dash center, and position relative. And there is a container with p tag with class lit. This will uh, uh, lit will shows the bigger size of your uh, text. And this is where the icon parts with bi dash house dash fill and the size is equal to h1. And this is the script. In the script part, uh, there is a data, and inside the data I declare the expense list equals to none. This is where will stores the array of your expense, and income list equals to none, and this will stores the income array uh, or data that you have input, and there is a total equals to 0, amount equal to none, description equal to none, booleans equal to true, and date equal to none. And in the methods part, there are 4 methods. The first is add income function. What this code actually mean is if you cannot execute this code without fill all the 3 input or this 3 input. You cannot just fill uh, 1 or 2 of this input. So if you have already uh, fill all 3 of those, the data that you have input will push. Push mean it will stores the data inside the income list. As you can see here, the description will turns into your data that description data that you have input, and the total will stores amount that you have inputted, and date will turns into date that you have selected, and the total will equals to total uh, plus this amount, and I convert it into integer, so you cannot write it into decimal. And if you have already clicked the add to income buttons, it will turns the input description, the input amount, description, and date equals to none again, this part. And what this code mean is if this total is equal than 0, this boolean will equals to true. This part is to toggle the class for this display, for this total amount display. So I'll explain it about it later more. And there's a function add expense. It's pretty much the same as the add income. The difference is just uh, the total will be subtracted with this amount. And if this total is less than 0, this boolean equal to false. And this is for the remove income, for the remove your income list with parameter item and the index. Uh, the total will equal to total subtracted with item dot total, and the total will be converted into integer again. And what this code actually means is if you have execute this function, the total will be subtracted with uh, the total that you have decided to remove, and the inside the array of income list will be removed will remove one item of your index. Splice mean it will remove what this code actually mean is to remove one item of your array inside of your array in specified index. And if this total is less than 0, this boolean will be false. Again, this is for the display for total amount. And remove expense, it's pretty much the same. The difference is just the total will be append with item the total. And if this total is greater than or equal to 0, this boolean equals true. So all this if code which has boolean in it is for this function. So what this functions means is if this boolean is equal to true, it will return the positive class. The positive class with uh, uh, will turn the background color of display into green, as you can see here. This v-bind class, and if this boolean is equal to false, it will return the negative class, which will turn the background color into red. As you can see here, yes, there we go. So, and this is the CSS. I declared the HTML with height 100%, and the body display flags. This part is to stick the footer on the bottom, and this is for the toggle class. And yeah, oh yeah, and I declared the footer, the margin top will be auto. So again, this is for just the footer will be will stick on the bottom. So yeah, I think that's all. Thank you and see you again.